Hello and welcome to Top to Bottom, a podcast celebrating all things male-male romance. It's not just novels and books, but we also talk about comic books, video games, manga, anything male-male romance. I'm Markie.
I'm Jess. This is kind of a bonus episode for us. We were planning on just doing a top episode and a bottom episode, top episode being where we talk about things that are going on in the industry in general, and the bottom is where we talk about our book of the month. We've had so much fun doing this. It's actually been pretty exciting since our first episode. We just really couldn't wait until the end of the month to record a new episode. We wanted to do a bonus.
Yeah, we have been having a lot of fun, and we're overwhelmed with the response and the warmth that we felt when we posted our first episode. We've had so many people come and like our page and download our podcast that it's pretty awesome. We weren't expecting so many people to enjoy our show, so we're humbled and excited to be doing this, and thank you guys so much for making our life. This has been amazing.
So we were thinking that if we can do bonus episodes, we will do them about the things that are not book related, because there's so much book related stuff to talk about. But there's so many other things, the video games especially, and that's what we're going to focus on this time. We are going to still talk about our book of the month at the end of the month. That was Merrick by Claire Cray, and I'm finished with it and I loved it, but we're going to talk about spoilers and stuff on the next episode. So if you haven't read it yet, we super recommend it.
Yeah, you still have time. So absolutely go and pick it up. It's, I think, 99 cents no matter what. It's about a 200-page book, so pretty quick read, and it's fabulous. So if you guys haven't had a chance to read it, definitely go pick it up and let us know what you think about it in our Facebook group. Your general thoughts will be great. So just, yeah, go read it. It's good stuff.
So we are going to talk about visual novels, actually, on this one. So we all definitely love the books involved. So these are visual novels. These are the video game kind of versions of male-male romance. I've played a couple of visual novels in the past, and they were like the male-female stuff. You actually introduced me into those things. You were like, there's this great game called Hakuoki, and it's these sexy samurai, and it's really great. And it's actually really cool. It's based on the real life Shinsengumi back in the Edo period, Japan. Really cool stuff, but like mixed in with a lot of fantasy stuff. And it was really fun, and I fell in love with it. And so like I fell into those kinds of games.
Yeah, they are a lot of fun, and it's basically an interactive book. So the way visual novels work is it's a story that unfolds, and you get to make key decisions about the way that the plot progresses. And with these games in particular, they're romance focused. So depending on how you move the plot forward dictate who you ending up with at the end of the game. With Hakuoki in particular, you played as a female with a bunch of males that you got to pick from. This specific type of visual novel is called otome games, which means girl games in Japan, or in Japanese rather. We played the crap out of those, and they were super fun. So we wanted to see if there were any male-male romance options.
And there are so many!
There are tons, and especially in Japan, it's a super popular genre. There's hundreds of games available. Unfortunately, there's only a handful. Well, there's a ton for us, but in the grand scheme of things, it's just a handful compared to the Japanese library. But there are a lot of really good options on the American market, one of which being Dream Daddy.
Yes, this was actually my first foray into a male-male romance visual novel, and it's made by the Game Grumps. If you're familiar with, the video game YouTube community, you may be familiar with Game Grumps. They made a game, and it is a male-male romance thing. You make a dad, you get to customize him and everything, and then you have all these dads to romance. And I absolutely love the taglines on it. It's a dad dating simulator where you play as a dad, and your goal is to meet and romance other hot dads. Are you ready? Hi, ready. I'm dad. It's so full of ridiculous dad jokes. I have laughed so much. It's definitely kind of tame. There's no super sexy scenes or anything. Nothing explicit, but no. It's just ridiculous fun. I haven't played too far into it. I'm romancing Damien right now, the goth, because of course. And but I just meeting the other characters, I definitely want to play through and romance them all. It's freaking fantastic.
It's really good, and I don't know if you've gotten to the point where you've played any of the mini games yet.
I played a Pokemon battle against the Bear Daddy.
I forgot that that's one of the first things that you do is compete against Brian. So I've played, oh my god, I want to say all the routes except for maybe Brian, because he was the last one I wanted to do because I knew he was really competitive, and I knew that route was probably going to be difficult because it's just how he is. It's fun because with Dream Daddy in particular, not only do you get to make your own character, which a lot of the otome games and visual novels you play as a set character. This one you get to make your own daddy, and which so and you know this too, with making your own daddy, it borders from being like, oh, I can make him kind of cute, to just like the most ridiculous.
Yes, my daddy right now looks like Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, and I named him Jon Snow. You can make Goku from Dragon Ball Z. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous how ridiculous you can go with it. Or you can make it, you know, just a classy looking dude. So there's a lot of options there just for that kind of a game. That's kind of a new thing, and it was a lot of fun just to make the character.
Right. They really tried to keep the tone light and hilarious, and which they did a great job. So not only can you make your character look as silly or not as you want, but the dialogue, of course, full of dad jokes and hilarious. But they break up the normal visual novel
cadence.
Yeah, with a bunch of really fun mini games that match the tone of what situation it is. So it starts with, well, you know, like Jess said, a Pokemon battle where you're basically trying to one-up Brian with your dad's skills. So you're saying like report card and you know, brag about art and just like goofy fun stuff, and it's so funny. Where it goes into even more ridiculous mini games that are so fun.
And something towards the beginning of the game, you're at a barbecue where all of the dads are together.
Oh, God.
And it kind of culminates at the very end where all of the stuff is happening, and then every single dad makes a horrifically horrible dad joke. And I laughed so much. It was super, super fun. That one, it's a Steam game. You can get it on Steam. The normal price on it's $15. Apparently it's on sale right now for $10. So if you're listening to this really close to the time of airing, it's on sale. You might want to try it. It's pretty great. So it's on Steam again. So Dream Daddy is super fun. We recommend that one. It's a pretty popular one. It's pretty easy to find information on. You can even find YouTube videos if you kind of want to check it out a bit. I think, is there a demo of that one?
I don't know if there. I assume there probably is. If there's not, though, honestly, because it's Game Grumps, it's so popular that you can find a lot of gameplay on it. So you can go into Dream Daddy and go into YouTube. You'll find tons of stuff. There's probably a lot of spoilers, though, and even though it's got such a light tone and there's a lot of humor in it, the storylines are really good.
Yes.
And they're in depth. So I recommend getting a feel for the gameplay and see if it's something you like. But honestly, it's really worth picking up, especially if you like the mail stuff. It's good. Go get it.
So you've been sending me screenshots. You've been texting me with this ridiculous stuff that's been happening with, it's called Coming Out on Top. That's what you're playing right now?
Yeah, that's what I'm playing right now. When we wanted to do this episode, I started doing research on other male romance visual novels because I had played Dream Daddy and then one other one, which we'll talk about later. And I was like, well, if we have an episode about this, I want to research some of the other things that are coming out. And one of the ones I stumbled upon was Coming Out on Top, which is an English language American-made game where you play as a college student who recently came out and he's making up for lost time by dating in college. And because it's American-made, it's got American humor, and it's been hilarious. When I downloaded the demo, what made me want to play the game is it gives you, like, the first chapter of the game is a demo, so you get a really good feel of how the game plays. And what's cool is that you're not just playing a guy who's, trying to get laid, but you're also a student, so you have to pay attention to your GPA and how your studies are doing, so you kind of have to micromanage as well as chase after people. So depending on what you're doing, you have to, at the end of the week, you go talk to your goldfish, which is a prominent player in this game, which you get to name, and you see where you're standing on your school, kind of where you're standing with your relationship with your roommates. And depending on how you play, if you don't keep your GPA up, you might flunk out. If your relationships with your roommates aren't great, it can kind of steer the game in different situations. So it adds another element to the game that you have to pay attention to besides just romancing people. But it's hilarious. Well, at the end, what made it funny is when you play the first chapter of the game, it gets to the point where the demo cuts off and you're right in mid-conversation with somebody. And he's like, well, tell me what you think of this. Actually, just kidding, because this is the end of the demo. And the screenshots I ended up sending you were like...
so good.
Yeah, not only am I going to talk you into playing this game, or not only am I going to end up talking you into buying this game, but it also has, like, well-written stories and
It was incredibly explicit. I actually saved these pictures because they're so great. Full penetration as far as the eye can see. Me masturbating, cum flying everywhere. It's the ultimate fuckfest and you're invited.
That's it. I was like, okay, I'm buying it. It was fucking hilarious.
Okay, sure, I'll level with you. There are several tightly written, hilarious, and heartwarming stories. I'm gonna stop because there's still more to it, and even if you're just playing the demo, which is completely free, you can try this game for free and see if it's something that you would enjoy, and it culminates with that, and it's incredibly tempting. I mean, it's a fantastic sales pitch. They got Markie.
Yeah, I bought it, and it's normally I think $20. It's on sale for like $15. It was greenlit for Steam. I think they're supposed to be releasing it sometime in October. If you wanted to wait for it to come out on Steam, you can. It's releasing soon. But it is available through their website. But honestly, even at $20, I'd still say go buy this game because it's really funny. The art is really good. There's no voice acting, which is totally fine. But the sex scenes are awesome. The dialogue's hilarious. It's really fun. Probably one of the better male visual novels that I've played. And I've played Dream Daddy and then one other Japanese one that we'll talk about because there was a culture difference that I didn't align with as much, but with this one in particular, it's very American, so it lines up with things that I'm more comfortable with, and the humor is spot on for sure.
Yes, and you have a lot of very, very, very explicit screenshots on that. So where Dream Daddy is definitely kind of a PG-13 kind of like just kind of love story romance kind of stuff. This one coming out on top is very, very explicit. So
yeah, so go into it knowing that if you don't want something that has
actual visions of sex,
nudity, full, like the screenshot said, full penetration, cum flying everywhere, like it's very sexy. So if you go into it knowing that, it's a lot of fun. My poor husband walked in plenty of times when I was playing, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Go away! It's nothing you want to see." So it's really good though.
So what was that other one you were playing that had kind of puzzle quest elements to it? It was Rune.
Yeah, I downloaded the demo for Legend of Rune, which I think their Kickstarter may have already closed, but I think you can still donate to it. But it is a male romance visual novel game, but it has elements of puzzle fighting to it.
It's kind of like Puzzle Quest. If you haven't played Puzzle Quest, it's a similar thing to Bejeweled, but as you match up the different colors, you're getting attack bonuses, and that like progresses the game itself as you're fighting with the puzzle game itself.
Right. So it's a visual novel where like it has plenty of dialogue and you're talking to various things, but when you go into battle, which is cool because a lot of visual novels are just straight storyline, and
which is also good.
Yeah, which is great. But this one does have actual fighting because it's a high fantasy type game, so there's combat in it, which is cool, and the combat is all puzzle. So like you said, it's like a puzzle quest. So every time that you're fighting an enemy, you have to go through a whole cool puzzle thing. And I don't know if you get to only play as Rune, who's the main character, or if it's like a typical RPG kind of situation where you have a party. I'm not too sure because the demo is the only thing that's available. But it's really fun. The demo is out on their website. If you go pick it up, it lets you play through kind of the opening sequence of the game. And I played through it. I'm terrible at it, so it took me a minute to figure out what I was doing. But it's really pretty. The art's awesome. It's all in English, which is great. I like puzzles, so it was fun. But I know they have a pretty active Facebook group where they post a lot of their art, where they've hit their stretch goals, so you get to see all the romance options and stuff. But it was really unique because I haven't seen a visual novel with that kind of combat system that's been available on our side. It's probably super prevalent in Japan and Korea because that's where it's booming. But I don't see a lot of combat visual novels here. But it looks really good.
And there's a ton of others of these that are on Steam. So if you play on PC, if you have a PC that's functional, there's so much, and we're gonna put a lot of those in the show notes. What's the other one though? The one that was kind of intense. The
Japanese one I played?
Yes.
Okay, so I downloaded No Thank You, which is a Japanese male romance game, and
I remember you texting me when you were playing this. You were getting upset.
Yeah, it was okay. So I guess I'll preface this with I'm a fan of anime and yaoi and manga and all that good stuff. So I understand the cultural difference of more forced sex or like it's kind of rapey. I don't know how else to really put it besides that because how we would classify what's happening. It just, not everyone's consenting, and if you're familiar with that concept in that media, it's not as jarring. But even reading a lot of yaoi and shonen ai, and that's a Japanese boy love and male kind of romance, it's more accepted in a fantasy setting for partners to be unwilling in a fantasy situation. And with No Thank You, I don't think there was any route where any of the guys were like, you know what, this is great. It's always been like the main character was kind of forcing them into that situation, to the point where one or two of the routes I was like, I'm raping this guy. Like it was pretty rough. But it is just a game. It is a fantasy kind of situation. It's way more accepted in Japanese culture.
If you're sensitive to that kind of stuff, definitely do not check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely trigger warnings for sure on that one, because like I said, some of the routes are pretty rough.
All of the routes are pretty rough?
Yeah, all of the routes are pretty rough. But again, if you are comfortable with it, it's just a game, fantasy setting, that kind of situation. The fully voice acted, so the voice acting on it is great. The art is really pretty. It's got sound effects, and I mean, it's uncensored. It's pretty great, but you do have to get over that initial kind of overcoming that cultural bias of like, this is kind of hard for me to wrap my mind around and not be uncomfortable with.
So this genre, it kind of has a lot of both the happily ever after and the, oh god, that's kind of fucked up stuff. So there's definitely a market for that. I mean, there's a lot of our listeners probably actually are into that kind of thing, so if you like that kind of thing, totally go for that.
I mean, I played all the routes, so it's not like I played one, was like, oh, I can't play this. I was like, wow, that was kind of rough. And then I played every other person's route, and I played it to the end, tried to unlock the extra bonus endings that I didn't get. So it's clearly wasn't that uncomfortable with it, because I played all of it. And I was sending you screenshots like, oh, look at this. Like, this is awesome. So that had been the only other one I played besides Dream Daddy. And then, of course, coming out on top has been the more recent one. And that one, I haven't run into any kind of forced situations, because it is American made, so that's not a recurring theme. That's something that you probably won't see in American games, unless I'm totally mistaken, but nothing I've run across so far.
So I do have a computer, and I do have Steam, and I do occasionally play PC games. I do tend to have more time for mobile stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when we started talking about this, I wanted to kind of dig into some of the things that were available on my phone, because I don't always, like, when I have time to play stuff, I'm not necessarily at home and at my computer, so I wanted to kind of find some other things. I mean, there's a decent amount, actually, a couple of the ones that I found. So, actually, first, when I was looking for these, I found this game called Mechromancer.
Oh my god.
You're mechs, and apparently there's male routes in it, but you're, like, mechs falling in love with other mechs, and so that's a thing. That's not exactly what we're here to talk about, but I couldn't not mention it, because holy crap.
And do you want to tell real quick what a mech is, in case people don't know exactly what it is?
Yeah, so a mech is like a giant robot, usually controlled by somebody either within it or, from a remote point, but it's basically a big, gigantic, battling fucking robot.
If you guys have ever seen Pacific Rim, kind of
Yes.
the same situation where you're a pilot and a robot. And I think with this one, from a brief, when I was reading the synopsis, because she showed it to me right before we started and I lost my shit, you have to make a special bond with your mobile suit or your mech or your Gundam, depending on what terminology you're familiar with. But you have to make a bond with it, and I think that's the romance angle.
Right.
Which is amazing. So I'm going to have to, I haven't played it, so we'll have to download it and let you guys know how it plays, but holy shit, if we have any other nerdy weeaboo fans, holy shit. So we'll put a link in it, but pretty excited because this is amazing.
Yeah, and if you like the sci-fi angle too, that's definitely a way to go for you. As far as, I kind of just glanced around I have an iPhone, so I was looking at iOS, just a few ones that I found Devoted Ninja, which is definitely a ninja-themed thing, and actually, I want to take it a step back here. Part of the thing that I love about visual novels is that there's so many different styles of guy that you can go to. There's always somebody for you, there's, the strong leader type, or the super snarky, sarcastic type, or the lovable little boy type, or, there's just like so many different archetypes, and no matter what your flavor is, there's one for you. And I love looking at the pictures for these, because I always like, oh, I would go for that guy.
Yeah. Well, you're always the strong silent type kind of person.
I know, I don't do it on purpose.
I know, it's just the way it always fits, but it's usually the one with the long black hair.
Exactly, yes. If they have long black hair, that's the one I want, and they almost always stick that on the stoic one. So, whatever, it's cool. I found Vampire Boyfriend. This is actually probably... All of these that I'm going to mention, by the way, all the mobile ones are free. There's going to be microtransactions. They're usually ones that you can play it for a little while, and then they're like, well, you can keep playing right now if you give us $1, or you can play again in a couple of hours.
So, let me veer off real quick. If they make a male romance that plays like Mystic Messenger...
I know! I was just thinking about that!
I would lose my mind. So, Mystic Messenger is a Korean-made... it's female-male. It's a reverse harem, which is female main character and male love interest. But the way that they have the game set up is it's like you're talking to somebody through a mobile chat.
Yeah, it's a chat room, and so you're talking to people and you make your choices and stuff, but they text you throughout the day.
Yeah.
They call you occasionally.
Yeah, and it's all real time, which is amazing. So if you are able to catch the chat rooms when they open up or when they call you, you don't have to spend a dime. Like, the game's completely free. But the kick in the ass is that they will text or call you at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So if you miss it, you have to spend money to get those back to...
Yeah, during my obsession with that, I definitely lost some sleep making sure I caught all the things. If they did a male version of that, I would play the fuck out of it.
Dude, I left the ringtone on for that game, only that game, and had it by my head when I slept. So anytime Zen would text me or call me, I would be up because I loved him and I wouldn't miss it for the world. Everyone else, I was like, maybe. But Zen, oh shit. So especially if they made a male romance of that, I would go right back into my Mystic Messenger sleep pattern because Jesus. I love that game. So somebody out there, please make that. Oh my god.
Awesome.
Anyway, continue on what you're talking about before I derail this.
There's just several different flavors I found here. I found a ninja one. I found Vampire Boyfriend, which is vampire stuff, which I super have a weakness for.
Right.
I found Distorted Love, which I can't really tell what it's about, but the boys on it are cute. And then I found Secrets of BL Academy, My Sports Club Boyfriend. So if you like sporty stuff. But yeah, so there's so many different things, and these are all male ones. I searched under yaoi visual novels on my iTunes store. We're going to post the ones that I listed in the show notes. We're going to post some of the other Steam ones in the show notes just so you guys can find those. But if you want to search for them, there's that as well. There's just like a wealth of fun interaction with that stuff, and it's super fun because you kind of have to make the choices to make the relationships happen. So it's a more choose your own adventure kind of romance novel with pictures.
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is. The first time you play through it, you're kind of learning the dynamics of the game and how it works, but then you pick the one you want and you go for them and see if you can track them down, and it's so much fun. I don't think I've played one yet that I really didn't super enjoy. But yeah, like Jess had mentioned, there's a ton of really good ones that are out there. A couple of the ones that I saw that were really cool I wanted to mention. If anybody out there is a fan of the Starfighter comic book series that's out online by Hamlet Machine, she apparently made a visual novel based in her universe where you actually get to play as the newest member of the starship, where you get to join Cain and Abel and the whole crew, and you make decisions, and apparently it's pretty awesome. I haven't had a chance to play that one. I think that one's $20, but it's like, it plays in the browser, so I haven't played it yet. But that comic book's cool, and we'll do a whole episode about manga and comic books and stuff, because we can go on forever about that, but that one looked really cool. There's one I really wanted to be out, but it's not. There's a studio called Maneater Games that has one game out that's called Blind Man, and that's the one that's about a villain who's trying to pull off his first heist, but it gets derailed by a bunch of spies, and apparently romance happens in that. It's like $4 on Steam, so if you're looking for a good cheap option that's a good 3 or 4 hours long, apparently that one's really fun. I haven't played it yet.
And if you're not familiar with Steam, I just realized that we should probably mention that.
Yeah, we've been ranting about it.
It's a free program. You download it onto your computer, and then through that you buy games, and it's basically the host for the games.
Right.
And it's got a whole store full of all sorts of really addicting stuff, and so frequently they have sales. Honestly, if you don't want to, you might not want to look at it, because that's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, exactly, because I have so many games. I've only played like a fraction, which is just how you play Steam games. You download 80 and play 2. So
yeah, it's just kind of like buying 900 books and reading 5.
Yeah, I'll get to it. I mean, I'll read it eventually. Yeah.
Right. So it's just as a warning, if you haven't dove into this particular rabbit hole, just be prepared. It's fantastic. but it will get you.
Yeah.
It will super get you.
It really will. But they've got a game that they just funded called Monstrous Love that's about male romance where you're dating monster boys, like vampires, werewolves,
I want
invisible.
that.
I know.
Is that on Steam?
It's not out yet.
No.
It's been fully funded. So their Kickstarter ended. They've got the money for it. They're just wrapping up development. And they also have to translate it because it's a company based out of Mexico, and they translate their games into English. But it looks really fantastic.
Wait. So that says it's on her notes. It says vampires, invisible man, werewolf, and a living doll.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. I'm super into Halloween and horror movies and all of that stuff. So that's super right up my alley. Yeah, and that's male.
It is male. You play as Christopher Wells, a young government employee whose job is ensuring peaceful coexistence between monsters and humans. So that's your whole job, is to make sure things don't go to crap. And of course, there's monster boys who just need to be wooed. Yeah.
Nice. I'm into it. That's pretty cool.
So definitely keep up with them. That's Maneater Games again, and we'll have their Tumblr listed in our show notes because that's what they're most active on. But they seem like a blast, and their mascot's this really cute incubus boy, like licking a lollipop or something.
Nice.
It's fantastic. And then the other one I wanted to mention real fast was Seiyu Denshi, which is about voice actors, which is so cool. It's a game where you play as a newbie voice actor who strives to win the year-end Seiyu Award. So you're playing as a voice actor in a Japanese-style visual novel. The art is really pretty. They also have a lot of really cute chibis, which is like kind of the big head, small body, cute version of
gigantic
the characters.
Eyes, super cute.
Yeah, super cute. But what they do is it's all chibis, but they kind of have like sexy scenes with the chibis. So like I'm sure they have fully illustrated not chibi versions of things, but they do have the chibi versions where they're just like going at it, and it's like this weird mix of like, that's so cute, but they're fucking. But it's I've been following them for a little while, and they do have pre-orders available, and they do have a demo. I didn't get a chance to play the demo because I've been playing Coming Out on Top. It's really cute, and I think they're going to be trying to release soon-ish since their pre-orders are available, but yeah, it looks good. That looks really good.
Yeah, so in general, I mean, if you haven't tried any of this stuff, if you're curious at all, most of these games, all the ones on PC, most of them have demos. All of the ones that I found on mobile, I'm sure not all of them are free, but most of them are free because they do microtransactions to get you to spend money. But you don't have to. You can try them all for free. So if you want to kind of stick your toe in and see how the water is, that's a good way to do it. If you are super into male romance books, this is just another area of the genre to explore, and it's super fun.
Yeah, well, especially with the mobile games too. It's a great time killer when you're waiting for your oil to be changed and that kind of stuff. It's just something to do to fill the time, and so why not do something that you read about all the time and romance some cute boys? So it's a blast. But yep.
So I think that's going to be about it for today. We are going to still do our bottom podcast at the end of the month where we're going to wrap up Merrick, again by Claire Cray. Mm-hmm. So again, if you haven't read it, you still have time to do it. It's pretty short. We would love to talk to you about it both on Facebook and Twitter, or if you want to submit us an email, ask us questions, things that you want to talk about or want us to talk about on the podcast when we have that, we would love to hear from you. And that's toptobottompodcast@gmail.com, and all of our other links to everything else will be in the show notes on our website, which is toptobottompodcast.com. That's about it for us, yes?
Yes. The other thing, I'm still going to GRL next week.
So jealous.
So I will be there. I will get in Thursday. I'm going to leave Monday, so I'm going to be tweeting all about all the cool stuff that's happening. I'll try to post on Facebook, but I'll probably be more prolific on Twitter because it's easier. But I'll try to do both. So if you guys do want to follow what I'm up to out there, it's #2 bottom podcast is our handle for Twitter. Otherwise, Facebook page is also good. I'll try to remember to post on there too. So, woo!
All right, guys, we will see you at the end of the month to talk about our bottom book.
Until next time.